welcome back guys. Today we are looking all at knee strengthening, knee stability. For those of you who have had previous knee injuries or you just want to develop a little bit of strength in your knees for whatever sporting activities you do, today is a great one for you. So let's get into it guys. Alright guys, so to start off with today we're using a hoop resistance band. So what we're going to do here, if you've got something stable around the house, leg of a table, whatever you've got that's not going to come flying towards you, we're going to use that. We're going to come out from here, pop the leg through, put the resistance band around the back of the knee, and then from here complete 10 reps of squeezing the heel back but not letting all the weight through this right side drive into the ground. 5-second hold, slowly release. So squeezing back. If you come around the front here, you're going to see that my little BMO muscle in the front of the leg is absolutely firing. And if it isn't, you might need to step the resistance band up a little bit or shuffle back a little bit so it's making it harder for you. But here we go, that's for 4. Good, 5. And 6. So this little muscle here, it should be firing. 7. Remember that hold as we go back. We don't want to rush through it too quickly. That's for 8. And 9. And last one, 10. So even if this is, you've been injured on one side before, and you want to focus on that side, we always do both sides, guys. So we're going to switch legs here. Bring it to the back of the other knee. Now, for some people, especially if you've got really hairy legs, this might be a little uncomfortable. So what you can do is put a towel between the band and your skin, and that'll take away that irritation. So here we go, guys. Let's go 10 reps on this side. Good. So remember that hold back. We're not squishing the heel all the way down into the ground. So imagine you've got like an ant, I always say, under the back heel. We're not trying to kill the ant, so that weight isn't going all the way back, but we are fully extending the knee. So what you should feel if you look down, that the muscle on the inside of your leg should be absolutely firing. And like I said earlier on, if you're not feeling this muscle fire too much, it can mean that the resistance band's a little too easy for you, or you're a little too close into where the resistance band's attached to. Good, 4. And for halfway, make sure we get those 5-second holds. And for 6, 7, and 8, 9, good for 10, slowly coming out from there. So the best way to come out as well, guys, grab the band, step in, come out from there. Don't let your legs swing all the way in. All right, guys, so for this next one, we're going to use a mini band. With these mini bands, they normally come in different resistances, so heavy, medium, or light. We probably want to be using medium unless you have done no work through your hip stabilizers before, and then you can go light. So with the mini band here, we are just going above the knees like so, and then coming down into a 45-degree amount of flexion through the knees. And what we're trying to do here, as we lift the leg over, we want to stabilize through the opposite hip. So if you don't have a foam roller, whatever you've got, an old milk carton, whatever out of the fridge, we can use that, as long as it's below the knee height, so it's not too hard for you. So all we're going to do here is stabilize through this left side, slowly lifting over. It's a tiny little touch, and then coming back from there. So we should feel that the muscle on the outside of the hips is trying to stabilize, and what we really don't want to do is, as you do this, we don't want that knee coming in, and that's what a lot of people do. The knee comes in, the hip goes out, that's bad posture. So keep these nice and stacked over each other, hip bone, mid-patellar and ankle in one straight line. All the way to 10 with these as well, guys, so just keep it slow, keep it controlled, don't rush through. Try and keep the flexion through this leg, so the quads are going to be working as well. Keep the control. Try not to hit the foam roller. And 7. And 8. And 9. Good, and last one, 10. Good, slowly coming back from there. So with this one, guys, it's a really good one. A lot of people often say, why are we focusing on the hips for the knees? The first part of the chain, if something's going to collapse, is often the hips. The hips will come out, then the knee caves in. And what's on the inside of that knee is the MCL, the meniscus, and even if it goes all the way through both of those, it can go into the ACL. So that's why it's so important to keep nice and strong through the hips for any sport as well. Good, so 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright guys, so this is called a Duradisc. It's nice and squishy, adds a lot of instability to exercises. If you don't have a Duradisc, which a lot of people don't, you can use 2 cushions stacked on top of each other. If you're a husband or a kid, make sure you ask mum before using the cushions because you can get them quite dirty. So 2 cushions stacked on top of each other, if not the Duradisc. What we're going to do here, guys, try and stabilize. I always explain here to my patients that with the ankle, we want to keep it as we want to keep it a tripod foot. So when I say that, the base of the big toe, the base of the little toe, front edge of the heel should always be flat. You're going to feel that the foot starts to go one way, rock back, forth. We want to always keep that nice and stable. So what we're going to be doing here, same thing. 45-degree flexion through the front knee, stabilizing through the foot, really making sure two of the links in the chain, the knee don't cave in and the hip doesn't cave out. So keep things nice and stable, get that control, and it's going to be a little tap in front, little tap behind. That's 1 rep. Tap in front, you're going to move around a little bit, but just keep finding your way back to neutral. Good, 2. And 3. Once again, all the way to 10. 4. And 5. Keep finding your way back to neutral with the foot. 7. And 8, and 9, and 10. So you can see this one's actually pretty unstable. Some Duradiscs, the more you blow it up, obviously the easier it is. So you can play around with the amount it is inflated. Okay, so second leg, make sure, gauge around, make sure you're in the center of the Duradisc so you're not going to fall, and then we are on. From 45 degrees flexion in that knee. Good, 2, 3. Make sure we keep the knee, ankle, and hip stacked completely over each other. 4, and 5. And 6. Try and sit that bum a little further backwards. Make sure that front knee isn't going over the toes. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright guys, so for this next one we have the resistance band again, and it's going to go just above our knees as we were doing just before. So once we place that around here, what we're focusing on doing here, we call these duck walks. And our main focus is getting the bony part on the front of the hips, mid kneecap and ankles all in one straight line. So we're going to go down, trying to get as much flexion as possible. And then from here, it's going to be taking a little step, trying to keep the distance, trying to make sure that everything doesn't cave in. So you keep those joints stacked on top of each other. As you can see with my step, it's a tiny little step. What the main thing I don't want you to do here is as you step, hike this hip up. So we don't want to be rocking those hips. Imagine you've got a bucket of water inside the hips and we're trying to keep all that water inside the bucket. Once we get to the end here, slowly going back, keeping the knees nice and wide, keeping the hips stacked over each other, making sure we're not rocking those hips so the hip tilt isn't going up and down. Keep that control all the way back. So this is going to be on the timer. You can see in the bottom of the screen, going all the way up to 1 minute. Keep that control. So we're going to feel it in the side of the bum. Nice and upright with the torso as well. So we're not sort of stooping forward too much. We're not extending to the back. Locking those ribs down to keep the core nice and activated. You don't want any lower back coming on here. Keep the knees nice and wide. Make sure we're not rocking too much through the hips. All right guys, so the next one, if you have slider discs at home or in your gym, we can use those. If not, a tea towel over either a timber polished floor or a tiled floor generally works really well. And we can just fold that. It's just going to be a tip to your toes touching on the little slider towel or whatever you've got. Now, what we're going to do here is our focus is going to be on this inside leg. And the same thing as we've been focusing on, the bony part in front of the hip, mid patella and ankle, all stay in one straight line. So if you feel that you're going down and this hip is coming on the inside of the ankle, we're doing this incorrectly. So we want to make sure when you look down, you can always see your toes, number one, so that knee's not going over the toes, your bum's going back, and that everything's in a straight line. So let's go here, we're going to go 10 reps on each side, really slowly. So as you can see here, getting as much depth, bum as far back as possible, strong through the core, and then coming up, that's 1. Going down, keeping that control, keeping the knees stacked right over the toes, and that's 2. Good, and 3. And 4. And 5. 6. 7, 8, keep the speed nice and slow, we shouldn't be rushing through this. 9, and 10. Alright, so from here changing sides. And 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay guys, so next one we're using that little slider towel again, or slider disc, whatever you've got at home or in your gym. And we're just going reverse lunge motion. So this is going to try and get those glutes involved a little bit more, and as you guys already probably know, the stronger your glutes are, the stronger your knees, yeah? So same thing here, 10 reps, We're going straight back. Make sure with this front knee, we're not going over the toes. So as we sink back, the bum sinks back. As we come up, the bum comes forward. That's that gluteus maximus firing. So let's get into it, guys. 10 reps aside, and we're on. So hip extension at the top, pushing the hip forward, controlling nice and slowly down, driving the hips up, forward. That's for 2. And 3. 4. 5. You can see my hips sink back so that knee's not rocking over the toes. 6. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Hips all the way up, extending, changing sides from there. So get your balance first, make sure everything's stacked over each other, and then same thing, slowly down. 10 reps we're going up to, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all the way up from there. Right guys, hope you enjoyed the routine today. If you do have an injury, this probably isn't the program for you. So I'm gonna do one in the future that is based around more rehab. So this is to keep the knees strong, solid, add a little bit of functional strength to the knees, upper chain and lower chain, and hopefully help you from there. So hope you enjoyed, guys. Tune in, there's more to come, and we'll see you next week.